in 3 plays. We only ran 7 plays in the 3rd quarter.
Well, I know Mark's not going to be happy for showing this, but I've never seen him shank one. And this is the beginning of the 4th quarter, and you're really digging yourself a hole right now.
Well, you know, in all fairness to Mark, John, in the ball game, we asked him to kick it away from Johnson because we respected his ability so much. And Mark being a left foot kicker, the ball being on the left hash, he just positioned himself a little bit too much to the sideline. And, you know, he's going to hit a bad one every now and then.
This is a big play. Kevin Martin made a great hit, but he got blocked in, so you were called for roughing the kicker, but then they batted the ball back, so this actually offset itself.
Offsetting penalties right there. And, John, I know there was a lot of question on the part of Kevin's effort right there and what a great effort he had to block that kick, but yet at the same time, the rule says if the blocker even knocks you into the kicker and you touch him, it is a violation and a 5-yard penalty. This was probably the biggest play in the ball game.
Defensive play, a big 3rd down right there. You stop Bell, you force them to punt, and their punter, a Hulu or whatever comes in here, and he hits the bad punt.
Well, he hits the bad punt. Got a bad snap right there, and they had lost their snapper as the game went on there, who was one of their starting offensive guards on a side, and of course that was a big break for us. But then Troy, you know, dodges danger there, and on the 1st down, hits Tyrone Jeffcoat there for an 18-yard play, and you know, I thought Troy really showed a lot of poise in this drive.
He really came alive in this drive, didn't he? Here's Mark.
Look at that block by Johnny Smith right there, and by Troy, and great effort by Mark. Exactly. And we think our quarterbacks, after they pitch that ball, they got a responsibility to block.
Here's the touchdown.
Well, Troy read that very well, John. And, you know, the defensive end and the corner came up and gave him a little bit of cushion to the outside, and he saw the daylight in there and turned it right back up. And that's all we're asking out of Troy. And I told him for the ball game, we don't expect you to give us the 60-yard play. If you can give us the 4 or 5-yard consistent play, then, you know, that's great.
You said you were going to go for it. There it is, the 2-pointer. Suedo, nice play.
Well, that play had already, the decision to go for the 2 points had already been made long time before we scored that touchdown. And, you know, we knew what we were going to do in that situation, and it was an option run or pass, and Troy realized that they were, again, playing the pitch so hard and were upfield, he just kept the ball himself and tossed it over there like a basketball.
Great defense again right here.
That's Steve Spiewak. And, you know, again, I thought our D, we only had 2 sacks in the game, but again, you got to consider that they averaged 279 pounds up front there. Here's Troy again keeping in. You know, this I think is a sign of good things to come, because he's a durable young man. And bless his heart, right here, dadgone it, he just overextended the ball. This was a predetermined play outside. We didn't have the option on. We had the double option on it that time, and we gave him some new life there, John.
Right,
we
so
might have could have put it away.
Yeah, right, they're driving, but this one will ice it right here. And I think he's only, what, 2 away from tying one and 3 away from breaking the all-time record.
Well, Tommy smelled that one out real nice. And, you know, I had a feeling they were going to throw the ball in that 4th and 1 situation. And but old Tommy said he saw in that tight end release that he knew it was going to be a pass. And, you know, he smelled it out and stepped right up in front of it and took it away from Hall. And, boy, that was a big play. And then, of course, we were so fortunate that we had, you know, they didn't have any timeouts left, and we had 2 left, which is a situation that we'd like to be in all the time. And Troy, you know, effectively ran the clock out for us.
I know a lot of people are going to say, hey, Coach, why didn't you throw the ball? But when you got a sophomore rookie quarterback in there, you got to give him some experience.
Well, it wasn't that we didn't want to throw the ball. We just felt like that we'd had such good success controlling the ball the first half, and I had no reason to believe that we'd go in hibernation like we did the second half. But, you know, we'll get that straightened out. And Troy is a good thrower, and we have all the confidence in the world in our offensive line. And the times that we did throw yesterday, of course, we threw for 500%, you know, 4 for 8. That's not a lot of passes, but we felt that they were, you know, opportune passes. And, you know, we felt like that we had good protection every time we threw the ball.
Okay, Coach, we're going to come back and meet a couple players and a couple assistant coaches up close. We'll have that right after this. Football program.
Boy, you can say that again, John. I don't know if there's anybody any more important than our trainers, and what a great job they do of getting the kids back on the field and taking care of them, and our players, you know, just respect them so much and appreciate so much the personal interest that they take in them.
All right, we are going to take a look at Jim Conboy, who, of course, has been there from day one at the Air Force, and here's Lee Douglas with a look at the AFA trainers.
Football began at the Air Force Academy. The Falcons have played 111 football games, and as far as anyone knows, only one person has seen every one. Head trainer Jim Conboy. Now, no telling how many ankles Jim has taped over the years, but he has been an integral part of the Falcons' success and their rise to prominence.
This team represents all of those in the past, too, always, and they support this team, those former players, tremendously, and this coaching staff, and they're looking forward with the greatest amount of support, and it's fun to have been a part of all of them.
But Jim tells me it's impossible to pick out any one highlight over that period of time.
Well, there's so many things. In every season, there's a point, a turning point, and there's also some suspense, and there's everything. But it's all Falcon football.
Jim has a total staff of 13 trainers who all deal with the football team at practice and during the games. But in addition to Jim, two men in particular come to mind. Dan Ellison, he's been at the academy nearly 9 years, in between a 3-year stint in Japan. And also Kim Jamison, known to all the players as Moose. He's been around since January of '83, and you talk about pride in your work. These two gentlemen know all about that.
Being able to represent the Air Force here at the Air Force Academy, being associated with the great bunch of individual athletes that we have, and working with such a fine organization.
The greatest rewards are working with the athletes, the kids that come in. That's what makes the whole job worthwhile, is being able to be associated with the caliber of kids we have here.
And you could ask Coach Deberry or any of the players. Dan, Moose, and Jim Conboy, and all the trainers, are as much responsible for the success of the Falcons as anybody. For Air Force Football 86, I'm Lee Douglas.
And, Coach, let me ask you real quickly, how was the injury situation?
Well, John, praise the Lord, I think we came out of it pretty good. We got a lot of bumps and bruises, and, of course, they went there to see Jim early Sunday morning. But, you know, I can't say enough for the job that Jim does and the personal interest. You know, he's the first guy that all the players, former players, come back to see because, you know, he meant so much to them. And, you know, they'll talk to Jim about a lot of things that they don't talk to the coaches about. But Dan and Moose, such a tremendous plus for our program because they take such a personal interest, and our young men really, really care about them and appreciate the concern they have for them.
All right, Coach, we are going to meet another person that is very crucial in your program. That, of course, is your offensive coordinator, Bob Noblitt. Here's our report. It wasn't that long ago that hardly any college teams ran the wishbone offense. Today, there are quite a few, but nobody runs it better than the Air Force Falcons. The man who directs the wishbone for Fisher DeBerry's offensive coordinator, Bob Noblitt, and despite the fact AFA was 3rd in the nation in scoring and 7th in rushing last year, he is constantly trying to improve the bone.
I think we're like everybody. We feel like that you always want to make progress in it. You can't sit back and say, well, this is how we did it back in umpteen, and, you know, continue, because the defenses are catching up. Things in football seem to go in cycles. The wishbone a few years back was very popular, then died out, and the ball was in the air all the time, and now it's kind of coming back. And every time that occurs, then new factors are added into it.
The coaching staff at Air Force is always willing to help other colleges and high schools work on the wishbone. As a matter of fact, they've been working with Colorado College as the Tigers have gone to the bone.
One of the things we've been blessed with is a lot of coaches from high schools, other universities have come in to visit with us, and they like to pick our brains about it, but we also pick their brains, and we've got a few things in our offense that they brought into us, and we're always open-minded, and we want to take as much advantage of what we can do as possible.
Bob, who's now in his 3rd season with the Falcons, along with his wife Janet, they have 2 grown sons, Alan and Mark, have really taken to the outdoor life here in Colorado.
Well, I've learned to ski since I came out here.
From Texas,
and, yeah, getting out of that hot humidity and getting out here to ski, and my wife and I really enjoy that. The other thing that I really like is the camping and fishing, getting up in the mountains and catching a few of those trout once in a while.
For offensive coordinator Bob Noblitt, coaching at the academy is a family affair.
Coach DeBerry emphasizes the family concept, and it really is like a family. And I just look at my own family. I got 2 sons, and if you didn't know they were brothers, you'd never think they were brothers, but they get along great, and that's, everybody has their own ideas here, but when it comes down, it is like a family. We all agree on things, and we work hard, and I think we all love the kids and what we're doing. I think that's the most important part of it.
All right, Bob Noblitt.
Oh, boy, what a blessing Bob is to me. And I'm telling you, we just love he and Janet so much. And they've added so much to our program. And, you know, I don't worry about a thing. I know Bob's going to always have the practice schedule to the minute, and he really keeps me in line, and he's just been a blessing. And what great expertise he has for the wishbone. And players really love him, and they work extremely hard for him.
Pretty ironic, Coach, that our player profile this week is on Tom Rotello from up in Denver. He had an interception.
Couldn't come at a better time.
All right, let's hear Lee Douglas and take a look at Tom Rotello.
The defensive secondary at the academy last year was, without a doubt, the best ever at Air Force. All-American Scott Thomas, number 29. Number 18, A.J. Scott. Number 24, DeJuan Wilson, the all-time interception leader at Air Force. Well, that trio's gone, but back is number 45. Cornerback Tom Rotello, and he will anchor what I think will turn out to be a secondary just as good as last year's. Tommy's the 4-year starter, the cagey veteran on defense, although it doesn't seem that long ago we always referred to Rotello as the young guy out there.
The table's turning on the old head, as Coach McCombs would say. I'm the veteran of the group. And being in that position, I think I got to be the leader. You know, I try to lead by example in that respect.
And that shouldn't be tough. Going into 86, Tom already has 12 career interceptions. No doubt before season's end, he will pass DeJuan and become the all-time leader at Air Force. He only needs 4 more.
It's in the back of my mind, that's for sure. But my main objective right now is just to win, you know, each game. If we go